Kyle Van Noys for the Ravens just had a tweet out, and I think, Zach, you wanted to allude to it because Kyle wasn't specifically happy with the Ravens schedule, and I think you can have good insight here. But Zach, you want to take it away?
Yeah, Shawne, how's it going? So Kyle Van Noys put out this tweet because there is a spot in the Ravens schedule where they have 3 games in a span of 10 days around the Christmas. It's actually right after their bye week as well, right, Kevin?
Yep.
So as a player, especially who played as such a physical position like you did, what are your thoughts on them having 3 games in the span of just 10 days?
Well, look, it's definitely rough, right? There's no doubt about that. And the game is physical. I think the ones who are going to struggle the most is like the ones 8 years and in, right? I mean, 8 years and after, because it was about that 7-8 year mark where my body started taking a little bit longer to recover. They came out with the Thursday night football games, and I remember like playing on Thursday night, and I was just starting to feel like I was myself on Wednesday, right? Like that Wednesday. And then going to the game, I was like, oh, okay, I'm good to go. But I can definitely see, even look, the game has changed, right? It's, the double days training camp back to back. They're not physical during the season. They hardly wear shoulder pads and equipment during the season at least. But you got to think, man, those 4 quarters are rough, and you really don't. It doesn't hit you until you wake up the next day, and then that Tuesday. See, that's where everybody's missing. That Tuesday is when you feel like shit. Like when you wake up Monday, all the adrenaline's kind of wore off, and then that Tuesday is where you're like, oh man, that hurt. And then, by the way, you're back in practice on Wednesday, so it's going to be a ton of walkthroughs, guys. Like they're not going to go and practice and run through drills and have not these scrimmages doing. None of that's going to happen. There's going to be walkthroughs and ice tubs, hot tubs. Those 2 or 3 weeks, man. It's not going to be rough. It's doable, but I do think it's a little bit in the gray area on guys' health.
Yeah, and then you even have to, take into account that it's Ravens Steelers on a Saturday, followed by that Wednesday. The Ravens on Christmas traveled to Houston to play C.J. Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. So it's 2 very physical games in the span of 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy because Pittsburgh has the exact same thing where they're also in that exact same span playing games 3 times in 10 days, which, I mean, speaking of, Shawne, do you feel like the bye week in particular, when you were playing, when the schedule came out, were you looking at that bye, and if it was like week 4, week 5, you were like, dang, like that's super early, because then you got to play football all the way through, or did you not really care about when the bye week was? You just knew it was rest?
I didn't really care. I only cared if I was dealing with something that then, like a nagging ankle that just won't go away, stuff like that. You rather be somewhere in the middle of the season where you kind of reset. And not just physically, I'm talking about like mentally, because you got to think, you go from a month-long training camp and you're popping right into the season. So you don't have a break. And so it's just, studying film, weight room, walkthroughs, practice, studying film. And it's just the repetition of every single day. And it starts to wear on you mentally, which is why a lot of the rookies hit that rookie wall comes from college, because they can't, it's a long season, it's repetitive, and it's like, it'll beat you up. Forget the physical aspect. You're like, man, I need a damn break. I need a second, because you don't have that. That's the first day of training camp start. You're going for 6-7 months of the year. That's it. So outside of the physical aspect, you will hope to get that mental break away from the game so you can reset closer to the middle of the season.